I'm not suggesting for a minute that the Denver Broncos are narrowing their search to the two Cowboys coordinators as they look for a new head coach to replace the dismissed Vic Fangio. Mike Fisher reporting from Frisco, home of the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy just got done conducting his press conference for a Monday. We'll have a bunch of notes for you at Fish at 6. We'll include Mike Zimmer, Micah Parsons, Tyron Smith, Trayvon Diggs, Dak Prescott, and more in our Fish at 6 live visit with you. But for now, let's look at the candidacy for the job in Denver. We've touched on Dan Quinn, and we've told you from the very start that this was going to be a connection in Denver, and now it is. They've made a request for an interview there. Kellen Moore is on their interview request list. That's the two Cowboy top coordinators, of course. Kellen Moore, interestingly, on his Friday night visit with the Jaguars in advance of that, Dan Quinn coached him up, kind of showing him this is what they're going to ask. Let's do a trial run on the interview. Maybe Dan Quinn's visit and work with Kellen will help Kellen get the Bronco job ahead of Dan Quinn. But hey, we're all brothers. It'll work that way. Speaking of other candidates in Denver, Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. The production that the Packers have had with his work there, Aaron Rodgers or whatever, certainly earns him the right to be interviewed. And then the most fascinating candidate of all for me in Denver, as somebody that covered the Broncos and grew up there in Colorado as well. While Kellen Moore at age 33 has the natural coach-teacher persona, although maybe lacks the ability, some people in the league wonder, his ability to command a room. And while Dan Quinn, forget the been there, done that, why do we want to retread guy, he's 51 years old. The only downside to Dan Quinn is you just had a defensive coordinator, and it's unusual to replace a defensive coordinator, Fangio, with another defensive coordinator. It's been done, but it's not the usual way, especially on a team where they need an offensive boost in Denver. They need a quarterback, really. Eric Bieniemy. And the reason this is a compelling idea in Denver, first of all, he has certainly paid his dues. He also, in working for the Chiefs under Andy Reid, has taken his share of Broncos flesh over the years. The Broncos have lost a lot of games to Eric Bieniemy. Bieniemy has not, for the most part, been the play caller for the Chiefs, and some people view that as a knock on him. I thought it was fascinating that the Houston Texans, as I recall, didn't even interview him, and that was part of the reason. But then they did interview and hire David Culley, who at age 66 had never been a head coach at any point in his life, ever. They passed on Eric Bieniemy. That was probably a mistake. Now Eric Bieniemy gets a chance to interview for the Broncos job, and this would be a homecoming for him. He was a star running back at the University of Colorado, up Boulder, right across the street, right down the street in Denver. It is such a natural fit. Offensive guy, hometown guy, African-American, which if you've heard my comments on this, you're not surprised to hear me bring this up. I think that's an important component here, an important thing to look at here. Hackett, Quinn, Kellen, Bieniemy, and probably more, and I don't mean Kellen, probably more candidates as they wisely cast a wide net for what could be a very attractive job if Denver gets a quarterback. Fish at 6 tonight will take you inside the Star after reviewing the Mike McCarthy press conference and some other notes as well on the coaching carousel, and get you ready for the playoff game, Cowboys hosting the 49ers. Join us then. Subscribe now. Fish out.